Hi, this is Leslie, and in this particular video I would like to introduce a new series of videos, if you like, and I am kind of grouping them together under the title, or at least the provisional title, Rambler Tutorials. I just thought up that title to designate or to indicate the fact that some of these videos, in some of these videos, I may come across as a little bit of a rambler, so to speak, because as being a teacher by profession and having spent 18 years in a classroom, I in some ways adopted, I believe, what could be described as a rambling style of delivery, which means that you kind of follow an idea through a sort of Socratic question and answer method, whereby you make, after you make your first statement, your next statement invariably will be an answer to one of the questions that arise from the previous statement. So now, on the surface, this approach may strike the listener as sort of rambling, but in fact, there should be, ideally, a firm logical connection between the statements, so that even though on the surface the entire presentation may have a kind of rambling character, on the whole it will present a coherent picture. Think of it as sort of putting together pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, where you are confronted with so many pieces of the puzzle in front of you, bits and pieces of reality, if you like, and now you are expected to put these pieces together into some kind of a coherent picture, the big picture that kind of makes sense and presents to you and anyone who's willing to share this with you a comprehensive worldview of reality and the role of the person, ourselves in this picture that we have, as it were, painted or portrayed based on our analysis of the different bits of reality. So now the purpose of the series will be to sort of clarify the meaning of various concepts that have come up in education, and specifically in education about Islam. I personally have an interest in Islam as a convert myself, and someone who has been a Muslim for about, I don't know, more than 20 years, and someone who worked in Islamic institutions for 15 years. And in fact, I have also published some papers, and these papers may be accessed on academia as well as on ResearchGate. On academia, my papers may be accessed under my legal name, which is Leslie Terabesi, while on ResearchGate, my papers may be accessed under my Muslim name, which is Abdul Karim Abdullah. Now, I have to caution the viewers that I am in the process, in fact, now of migrating these papers to from this, as it were, from these academic sites to a commercial site, and I make no bones about it. The commercial site I'm referring to is Amazon.com, where I am publishing these papers in a form of small books, although some of the books are not that small. And of course, if a person wishes to gain access to the full text of that particular writing, he or she may need to purchase it on Amazon, either in Kindle or ebook format or in paperback format. Now, the big books, those that are more than 100 pages roughly, normally will have a paperback format only, but nearly all of the smaller books will be available both in paperback as well as in Kindle or ebook format. The ebook format, of course, is cheaper, and the going rate for an ebook now on Amazon is $9 US and 99 cents. The price for a paperback on Amazon.com can go as high as $250 US, But so far, I think none of my books have exceeded $55. I think is the most expensive book that I have there, and I think it's the book on a kind of analysis of economics, both from an Islamic as well as a conventional perspective. So now to one other thing I should add then is that the writings that are being published on Amazon will continue to be offered on the academic sites. However, they will be offered only in an abridged form, meaning that the text will provide the introduction, I mean the abstract, the introduction, the table of contents, and maybe up to 1/3 of the full text for the readers to get exposure to the text, to sample the text, so to speak, and to basically give them the opportunity to decide whether they want to purchase the entire text or no. So now I guess I don't have to remind people why this is taking place. We all have bills to pay, and I'm no exception. So I apologize if it is causing any inconvenience that I am asking my readers to pay for these texts. However, it should be borne in mind also that these texts did not happen without time and effort, and in some cases a fair bit of time and effort went into the production of these texts. I may add also that all of my work is under continuous revision, and I apply the rule of continuous improvement, which means that I periodically go back to any text that I feel may need to be revised, upgraded, or even expanded, as the case may be, because I really feel that the quality of the text which we place in a public domain is, of course, very important so that we have good and reliable knowledge. And also it's very important because, of course, we do not want to be in a position where we could be inadvertently misleading our readers. So this is all part of the, I guess, the game of publishing, and we really need to be cautious, I believe, given what is going on in the world today, to be very cautious as to what it is that we put in the public domain, so as not to confuse the readers, but rather bring some clarity to the issues which are facing us, so that we can hopefully move forward together and create, so to speak, and forgive me for using such a cliche expression, but so that we can all move forward and create a better world. So now, having said that, I would also like to add that my first video, after this introductory video, I think will be on the one particular incident in Islamic history which is not covered very much in courses or in academic institutions, institutions of learning, and that is the slaughter of 5,000 philosophers, according to Suyuti, as reported to us also by Jalaluddin al-Afghani, that took place in 786, and which was a result of the conflict between the rationalists on the one hand, or the Ahlil al-Rai, the people of opinion, and the traditionists, or the Ahlil Hadith, or the people of tradition, on the other. Now, this was a momentous event, and it was followed up by certain repercussions which did not impact the Islamic civilization very well, and in fact, I believe, contributed in the long term to its eventual decline and disintegration. The following events I am referring to, and perhaps there will be a video on each one of those, or at least one video on the two of them, the so-called shutting of the gates to ijtihad, or the prohibition of reasoning on the one hand, which took place about 130 or so years after this massacre of philosophers, and also the declaration of the philosophers as heretics and disbelievers by a prominent Muslim theologian. And so Al-Ghazali is who I have in mind, and I realize that Al-Ghazali is held in high regard in many parts of the world, especially in traditional circles. However, we need to also examine his thought and his contributions to the development of the Muslim civilization and we have to be as objectively as we can, and we should not really give him, as it were, special treatment just because he is so well known and widely accepted. Truth in matters of religion or science is never decided by a majority vote, and a majority can often be wrong. So, and moreover, many people agree that the entire Muslim heritage needs to be re-examined and in some ways rehabilitated, because a number of things happened or transpired in the past which are the effects of which are still with us today, and we need to address those effects. One of the effects of the depreciation of reason, if you like, is the relative paucity or lack of scientific contributions in the Muslim nations, and the fact that very little original research takes place in the Muslim world. And one reason I would suggest for this state of affairs goes right back to this adversarial attitude towards reason that was already evident as early as in the struggle between the rationalists and the traditionists. So in other words, we need to recover the tradition of reflection in the Muslim world, and we need to, as it were, rehabilitate reason to restore it to its proper rank, where it serves as a faculty of understanding or comprehending and even applying revelation, and also where it serves as a faculty for, in fact, ascertaining which of the traditions that have come to us in the form of the so-called hadiths can or may be considered authentic or not, or anything in between. So it is very important to retain reason, as it were, in our repertoire of tools in our studies of the Muslim heritage, and to apply it in the best possible way. So overall, I think what we are looking at is a need to restore the balance or harmony, if you like, between the three major factors in a Muslim civilization, or perhaps in any civilization, which are the revelation, then reason or rationality, and finally tradition. These three factors need to be linked to each other in such a way that revelation remains and retains its preeminence. I would say followed by reason, because reason is required to understand and apply revelation. And finally followed by tradition, because tradition also has a value and merit, especially where that tradition is authentic and faithfully reflects revelation and is not in conflict in any way with what we would call common sense or reason or rationality. So this is, I think, what is required for the purpose of renewing the Muslim civilization. And I would extend the argument to include even the Western civilization, as a matter of fact, because even in that civilization, the Western civilization, a kind of imbalance occurred or developed between reason and revelation, and also tradition to a lesser extent, which was allied with revelation, whereby rationality or reason took on such a prominent role that both revelation and tradition became significantly marginalized, and this, of course, had certain effects as well in the Western world. The marginalization, and partly due to the corruption of the knowledge of revelation in the Western world, has in fact aggravated or made worse certain social problems, among which we may include experiences like alienation, drug abuse, decline of the family, problems in the economy, and you name it, there are very many problems that can be traced directly to a loss of the sense of the difference between right and wrong, which was originally provided by revelation, and in a more limited way, and to a lesser extent by reason as well. So these are the items, the kind of themes that we will be looking at in these upcoming videos. So I hope you will join me. And if you have any questions or concerns, please write them down in the comments below, and I will do what I can to answer your concerns and to redress any issues that may remain. Thank you. Bye-bye.